Mamu na akwaba Ediba Kintu TV native for. The case between Honorable Ken Ofori Attah versus the Attorney General Dominic Akrotinga the case no pema na epem so. Na shocking native for Ambassador Victor Smith to Saba Bontin at the shocking and explosive details concerning the extradition of the former finance minister Ayora Honorable Ken Ofori Attah na sesama Honorable Victor Smith to sa hwegu honum de tifo no edimpa anya asem kitwa. Then say Ambassador Victor Smith and the most highest government official to the US. We purchase Donald Trump and Ghana SSC John Dramani Mahama ebedi komo concerning certain government issue. Ni na befa Ambassador Victor Smith so etifo nya asem kitwa. See do atena se edintima beto. No say Honorable Ken Ofori Attah arrest send FBI so sa Musasha Sebi anya asem kitwa. Ni na watena se achechemu apensen nsɛmnimu etifo nya asem kitwa. Ne tiense bipine ekone tiensema ambassador ekana oditudwa ne kwan a etifo Honorable Ken Ofori Attah eba bepiemu Ghana memu hase ekone timbra.
Wasn't sure, so I called the Attorney General, Mr. Ayine, Dr. Ayine, and he confirmed that the FBI had been in touch with him, that they picked up former minister and one other, and we talked a little bit, and he was always in the picture, when it wasn't, the ICE did the picking up, but the FBI were also involved. If you recall, we had I'm not sure whether you know that one, but we had an extradition request from the government of Ghana, which we passed on to the Department of Justice. This was on the 29th of December. And I believe that acting on the request, they moved in on our brother Ken.
So that is a very important clarity. First, that the FBI was involved, and second, that based on your briefing, this particular arrest may have something to do with what he's wanted for in Ghana and the extradition.
I suspect so. The ICE did the arrest, but a few hours ago, I was also informed the FBI were involved. And of course, that sort of corroborated with what the Attorney General told me, that the FBI had informed him that they had picked him up.
Okay.
So
were you
I
also,
suspect.
Yeah, you suspect. You suspect that
I suspect it's a combination of these two factors. ICE normally would pick you for immigration issues.
Okay.
But then, of course, when the FBI comes in, then there must be some criminality or Interpol police request. So the red alert comes in there. So the combination of the two of them, convinces me that Ghana government had requested for this man to be brought in to help us, if you like, unravel some issues that have been brought against him as a former minister.
Were you also briefed about the revocation of his valid visa?
No, Attorney General mentioned that to me. The extent of my involvement at this stage was when he had been picked up. I discussed it with the consular officers of my embassy, and we decided to make a request to make sure that he was being treated properly as the protocols, international protocols. And so we requested, and they agreed in principle to allow us to come and visit. But just before we set out, the ICE people came again and said the detainee had refused to meet with us without his lawyers. That was the initial response from the detention center. And they were going to go back to him and probably request that his lawyers appear so we can come and verify for ourselves that he's being treated fairly and not being denied, for instance, his medication and all that. But we waited for a while. After about a few hours, they came back to us to say the detainee, being the ex-minister, had refused now to see us under any circumstance. So that was the end of the road for me and the embassy.
So the consular officers didn't even manage to get to the detention facility. This was all a phone conversation with yourselves and the ICE.
No, they came. The ICE came here. The representative came to my office. And they had indicated initially in the phone conversation that they had cleared the way for us to go. So I got myself ready with my consular officer. And just before we set off, the consular officer walks into my office and says, the ICE people are here. And I said, are we leaving? He said, no. They said there's a problem. So I invited them to my office. And they said this to me, that the detainee is unwilling to have us visit him without his lawyers. And therefore, they asked me to hold on until they're able to sort out the lawyer's presence, with him. After about 2-3 hours, they came back and said he was adamant. He wasn't going to now, under no circumstance, did he want to see us.
How did you react to that?
Well, a bit of a disappointment, because I know Ken personally. He may not be my friend, but I know him personally. And nobody had visited him at the time the ICE were discussing this with me. And I found, as being a Ghanaian and being our responsibility, so to speak, in a host country, I felt that if we had had the opportunity to at least hear about if he had some concerns, for us to probably try and assist in that respect. So shutting the door in our face and not wanting to see us under no circumstance was a bit unfortunate.
I mean, since this incident, have you had any further information about the conditions of his detention?
Yes, the ICE people confirmed that he was all right. Initially, they had medical people to determine whether he was fit to be held in a detention center, and they were convinced and were sure that he was okay. He was on medication, but he wasn't seeing any doctor at the time, and he had his medication, so he could be put in the detention center.
So in other words, since he was arrested, the ICE itself had examined him to determine whether he was medically fit to be in detention.
Well, they had caused for him to be, assessed by the medical personnel, not themselves. Because I've been to one of those detention centers before. They have very, very fully manned medical center for the detainees. So they just, and one thing I like about the ICE's approach is that they don't want people to put stories on them. So they were very welcoming and saying that come and see for yourself, so you can be a witness whether we have done anything, towards the detainee. And so I respected what they had said to me, that he had been assessed and was given the all green, to be held in that detention center. If he had any serious medical conditions, maybe they would have referred him into a medical facility outside the detention center.
Do you know if Ken Ofori Attah was in the US at the time of his arrest with his family? Because we know the building. If you see the screen there, at least Manasseh has given us a bit more detail about where he was arrested and where he was staying. I'm pretty sure you would have that information too. Do you know any other details around who he was with, where he was staying, and what may have happened on that particular day?